Welcome once more to Your Fave is Autistic. This might be a long one, because we're doing a character from a current hyperfixation slowly turning special interest of mine, which is Dr. Boar's Habit from Smile For Me. So spoiler warning, because I gotta talk about every part of his character. Also, side note, I personally headcanon everyone in that game to be neurodiverse, but we don't have enough time for that, probably. So let's get started. This is just gonna be spooky simping for silly dentist man the episode. First category, stimming. Okay, so there aren't really animations in the game that show you his stims all too well. The only one being the bounce that everyone does, and yes, that counts, please just let me have it. There's a couple tweets he made where he talks about rolling around and spitting sometimes, and I can say that's stimming. He also frequently mentions that he rolls up into a ball and stays like that, which could be a pressure stim. Also, he mentions kissing a lot, something I wish to do with him. And he says he kisses pretty much anything, so maybe? Is kissing a stim? I know that smelling is a stim, and we all know that Boris loves flowers, so I bet he smells his flowers to calm himself down. Let's move on before I get distracted. Next category, atypical behavior. Habit definitely masks a lot, especially while he made the PSAs. A whole plot point of the game is that we learn in his diary that he started to hide himself more and more as he grew up because of his parents' abuse and hostility that discouraged his special interest, which is flowers. Another case of comorbid PTSD, which is something I talked about in the previous episode. Go watch it. When we give him the tooth lily in the good ending, he remembers that part of himself he tried so hard to bury and realizes what he's doing is wrong, and then I give him a smooch. Speaking of his lily, he seems to personify it quite a bit, even mentioning that it kissed him. That's something called object personification, which is quite common for autistic people, because we tend to relate to objects, animals, fictional characters more than real people, because it ties to how a lot of us don't understand neurotypical social rules. Hence why I made this series. Habit also created these paper people and personified them into being real, and he also personifies Martha. In the game, Kamal talks about how one day it rained and Martha's teeth got all rusty, and Habit got super upset and desperately brushed her teeth with everyone's toothbrushes to make the teeth better again. He seems to have frequent meltdowns whenever the habiticians try to change anything. Also might be a manipulation tactic, but you know. For example, Tiff wants to sing different music than the music Habit wrote for her, but every time she tries to, he breaks down crying. Continuing forward, next category, sensory issues. I'm going to be focusing on how much Habit really dislikes change more in this one, and how that can be directly affected by sensory issues. So Dr. Habit created the habitat to bring in sad people and help them smile. He tries to keep everyone sad until the big event with Martha, where he fills the habitat with nitrous oxide and forces smiles out of everyone and takes their teeth. When you progress in the game, you make people happy by doing tasks. Habit doesn't like this and frequently confronts you via PSA message when you make more and more habiticians happy. At the end, when you finally meet him in person, he talks to you about how he was supposed to be the one to make everyone happy, and how everyone in the world who deserved to smile will finally get the chance to. Of course, like I said before, after giving him the tooth lily, he realizes what he's doing and brings himself down about it. Now, a lot of autistic people have trouble with change because we tend to have a planned out routine for pretty much anything, and when that changes, that can lead into a meltdown or sensory overload. Whenever any new taste, smell, texture, visual, or etc. changes from something we're not used to, it can really agitate and upset us. I know we have to make everyone happy in the game, but that doesn't change the fact that Habit was quite bothered by it. Now let's move on to our last category, Special interests and hyperfixations. Habit's main special interest is flowers, which we learn from his diary pages. He talks about his interest in flowers less as he grows up, and more about how he wanted to help people with broken smiles like himself to have fixed smiles with a full set of teeth, which led to him becoming a dentist, even though he didn't really want to since his parents were doctors. He even went to a dentistry college for a short amount of time until realizing he doesn't enjoy being a dentist because all the patients would scream and run from him. After he quit being a dentist, he began to have dreams about building the habitat and concocting his whole plan to take teeth from sad people who don't deserve them. It's mentioned that he's always had an interest in teeth, probably due to the fact that he lost so many from the abuse from his dad. He spent 2 whole years building the habitat from the ground up, pretty much all on his own, and the whole place really shows his dedication for the thing he really cares about. Hyperfixation right there. I think that's all I can talk about without just talking about the whole game's plot, so I suggest you go buy it on Steam or itch.io because it's really fun and I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day. Bye!